What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 65 of To the Show We Go. We have Ed Hand, as always, and myself, Andrew Parker. We have actually, I think you might be the newest Red Sox in the organization on today, in Cooper Adams. Now, Cooper, we were just talking off air a lot, and I feel like this one kind of came under the radar. Obviously, you're new to Red Sox organization, and I know that they're new to you as well. You got the Red Sox hat on now, which is a great touch. But before we kind of get in, we want to get to know you a little bit more, get to show Red Sox Nation, I guess, who you are. But what has the offseason been like for you? Obviously, being done at Mount St. Mary's last year and then going into the official baseball offseason, I guess, how has everything been?
It's been a wild ride. I will say that. Starting off from basically ending my career at Mount St. Mary's to uh, not getting drafted or signed then, and really trying to rework everything that I've been doing baseball and sort of reteach myself how to pitch, and just been sort of an adventure, but one that I will never change or switch up on because it got me to where I'm here, where I'm at right now. So it's a pretty cool experience. And happy that, I mean, it was a 6 month period of just work and going. I went to Tread Athletics in North Carolina and just reimagined myself and got to where I'm at right now. So it's sort of cool.
Your baseball reference page is basically empty. It doesn't even have what your age is on it. But you still have a baseball reference page, and that's got to be pretty incredible for you. So just with that in mind,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about yourself. Where about are you from? What type of pitcher are you?
So I'm from Potomac, Maryland, up in the East Coast. Been here basically my entire life. It's sort of strange to think about too. I mean, I went to my first college I went to was UMBC in Baltimore, and then I obviously went to Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg. So I never really left Maryland. I've been in Maryland my entire life, and was sort of a typical stock righty for a little bit, but I had a little bit of sink on my fastball, so ended up just trying to get that better as much as I could. And it's been obviously a little process for me just learning how to pitch. I actually in high school was a guy that wanted to be a hitter. I was like, I'm going to be a hitter. That's my bread and butter. That's what I'm going to do. And just sort of figured out. I think I figured out like my senior year was the first time I hit 90. I was just sort of like, all right, maybe I'll try this pitching thing, see what happens. Ended up going to UMBC and I had I think it was a Saturday starter my freshman year, but definitely dealt with a bunch of different things and didn't know how to pitch. I had no idea what I was doing. But it's been, man, quite a ride from sort of being a kid in Potomac, Maryland, to now signing with the Red Sox. It's sort of a cool feeling.
Now, did you grow up an Orioles fan?
I actually grew up a Cubs fan.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting. How did that happen?
Well, so my dad is from he's from Chicago. He grew up on the north side, and basically, when I was out of the womb, he was like, "You're a Cubs fan. You're going to be a Cubs fan. There's no other way about it. You're going to be that." So, um, you know, I've loved them for a really long time. Obviously, I love the Nats and the O's as well because they're just close by. And obviously, I went to school in Baltimore for a little bit. So it was always fun actually watching. I've been to a couple O's Blue Jays games and then O's Red Sox games actually as well. So it's sort of been a cool experience being like, oh, I'm actually a Red Sox going against the Orioles at some point. That'd be pretty crazy.
What was
I
that? Because you were. Oh, sorry, Parker.
no. I was I'll let you follow up, and then I got something.
Okay.
It's a different topic here.
Okay, gotcha. Because you alluded to this a little bit that you didn't get drafted, and obviously you've ended up signing though. So could you just take me through draft day for you, and then these negotiations that happened after, and how you eventually landed on the Red Sox, and what I mean, my real question is, how does it feel like to go from not thinking it's happening to suddenly you have that contract? But I feel like we need a little bit of the context of the story into how that happened for it to really have the full effect.
No, of course. It was I ended up having a pretty, I think by my standards, not an okay season. I think it was pretty solid. Got some good wins, and unfortunately, my team wasn't able to make the playoffs or anything. But I was really just very up and down when it came to velo. Just I had games where I'd be really, really good, and I'd be like 90, 93. And then there'd be games where it was mainly at the start of the season. I was really solid, had a ton of wins, and end up getting a win against Pitt and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. And then as I went on, as the season went on, I just got sort of tired, and my velo started fluctuating. Like I'd have a game where I'd be 99.3, and then a game I'd be 86 to 90. So it was sort of a weird process. And then when draft day came about, I sort of had that feeling of, okay, I knew I wasn't going to get drafted. I was like, there's a possibility to get signed, but I wasn't too sure. And basically, I had a thing right before draft day. I went down to Tread and threw in a pro day there, and ended up being, I think it was like 93, 94 there, and showed that I could get up there and I could do it. Um, but I actually had a conversation with my tread coach at the time, and he was like, "Listen, you have some things that we need to fix, and if we fix these, I think you're going to be a really solid pitcher. If we don't fix these, then you can play, you're maybe go to indie ball and see what happens, but most likely it will be exactly how college went." And for me, I was like, okay, I don't want that to have, don't want that to happen. And we ended up sort of going on this 6 month phase of just trying to fix my lower body mechanics and just get it where I'm actually sitting in my hinge properly and rotating properly, and not just putting a bunch of stress on my arm. And it was just sort of a whole process until I got down to Tread, I think in November. Spent 3 months there leading up to a pro day in January, and ended up throwing in that pro day and sat 95, 96, and showed off, a lot better pitch arsenal than I think I've ever had before. Did a lot of work on just upgrading my off speed pitches, not only my velo. So they ended up getting to the viewpoint where the Red Sox saw me and reached out and, end up offering. And I'm really glad to be here now.
I do want to ask a little bit more about the pro day at Tread, because we just had a guy on the show, Steven Nogusek, who also was at that pro day. And then he eventually ended up signing with the Nationals. But I did see a quote on here for after your pro day that I want to read to you, and then we can kind of discuss it. But this is what the quote says. It says, Adams got on the mound on day 3 and showed up as a new pitcher, not the arm that was at Mount St. Mary's last spring. Would you consider that to be pretty accurate?
Yes, completely. Completely.
Okay.
It's actually pretty funny because I went back and actually faced my teammates last week, just sort of getting myself ready to go to spring training. And I threw to them, and a lot of them came back and were just like, dude, what happened? What happened? Like, you were not this last spring or even last fall when we faced you. It was like, what did you do? And it was sort of like I said, I got the velo up and more consistent, but also, I told my parents about it. I told a lot of people about it. I had very average stuff, to say the least. Didn't have a slide. My slider was sort of like a pitch that if I spotted it well, it could get outs. But other than that, it wasn't doing anything. My changeup was the pitch I thought was really like my bread and butter. And I got to Tread, and they were like, it's not bad, but you're not going to get outs at a higher level, with this pitch. And then even, my four seam was very inconsistent with how it moved and how it, was spinning and everything like that. So sometimes I get a fastball that had a ton of sink or a ton of movement on it, and then I'd have a fastball that was completely flat. So I just ran into a lot of areas where there'd be a lot of inconsistencies. And if my fastball was flat, I couldn't lean back on an off speed pitch to save me. Where now I feel like, I added a kick change. My coach at Tread, Leif Strom, he the one that sort of created it and then taught it to me. And it just was, for me, able to get more depth on my changeup. Not have it like where it's running. It was more like it's able to run and sort of drop at the same time. And I was able to still throw it hard. So it added that, like, okay, now I have a legit pitch that I can get outs with. And then adding another slider, adding my slider where instead of it just being this sort of average, like not a cut piece, but sort of in the middle, but it's not fast enough to be a cutter, that type of pitch, to now being somewhere close to a very solid sweeper, was a big jump within the off speed range. And then even fastball stuff. I mean, my four seam's been good, but I added in now like an actual sinker that has the consistent drop that I want every single time I throw it. So I just, looking at that comment, I'm like, yeah, I'm a completely different arm than I was at all in my entire pitching career.
So I have a couple of follow-up questions on this. Did your physical conditioning have to change in order for you to do this? Like, did you have to get physically stronger, more pliable, anything like that? And also, at what point in this transformation did you start seeing results? Because I feel like people very often, they want to make a change to improve at something, whatever it is, but then they don't get results immediately, or they don't get results after a few weeks and they get discouraged. Did you have to really spend a long time working on this to get it there, or what was the process like?
It was definitely a very long process. I was actually pretty glad that, I mean, at the start of it, it was something that my body could do, and I've done it before, but it wasn't consistent. So I actually ended up starting out with a lot of, I didn't even do bullpens or anything for probably 4 months.
Oh, wow.
I did short boxes where I literally pulled a net up, probably to where it was like 40 feet, and just tried to focus on being as smooth as I possibly could and feel the patterning and everything. And at the start, it actually went really well. I was throwing mainly 70 to 80% like short boxes. And I ended up getting up to, I think it was like 90 on one of the 80%, which I'd never done before. Like, I was like, wow, that was really easy. But then it was a thing where I would keep going and I'd be like, oh, I'm hitting, like, I'm going to keep going up. I'm going to hit 94 in an 80% short box. And I was like, that's not going to happen. But I kept progressing, and then I hit a fall off where I was struggling to just, my velo started going way down. I was like, what's going on? And I started going back into old patterns and old habits and old situations where it was like for probably a period of a month where I was just trying to figure out, okay, I'm going back into this. I'm starting to throw a lot slower than I was at the start of it. And I'm feeling a little bit worse than I was at the start of it. And just sort of going through and going, why is this happening? What can I do to fix it? And I was lucky that I had coaches around me, one at Tread and then one at bullpen pitching in Virginia, to just give me different pointers and different things to work on and focus on, and ended up getting back to a good solid range in those short boxes. And then that led to me going to Tread. And I think my first bullpen there was just sort of a 1 mile an hour pen build up. And I ended up being 92, 93, which was probably the best I've been in a pen setting. So it was a very good feeling, but it definitely wasn't a constant sort of build like this. It was definitely a
Yeah.
build, drop, come back up, a little drop, and then sort of started building. But even from when I got to Tread, I had a couple pens where um, I was sitting good velo the week before, and then I'd come in and it would be just not there, and I'd be like, "This is 100%. I should be chucking way harder than I was last week," and I wasn't. So it's definitely a whole process. There's a lot of ups and downs, but the part for me was just sticking with it, and obviously that ended up leading to pro day, and I was happy I ended up sticking with it till then.
So I am curious about this. So obviously you had the pro day, the Red Sox reached out. What was your conversations like, I guess, after the pro day once the Red Sox were pretty interested and, you thought this was going to be a real thing, I guess, how did that process work on, eventually choosing? Did you have other suitors that you had to choose from? Like, I guess, how does that process work?
It was something that was brand new to me. I ended up talking to a lot of the coaches there at Tread just on what to expect and what to see in the next couple days or weeks or whatever it was. And they sort of just let me know they'll get to me at some point during the week. And I know I ended up talking to the Reds first, talked to them, and great organization over there, and end up just I think I talked to them and the Diamondbacks as well, great organization as well. Went to the World Series this year, so that was pretty cool. And the Red Sox actually ended up reaching out. The Reds and the Diamondbacks reached out on Tuesday, and the Red Sox ended up reaching out on I believe it was Saturday. A lot longer than the other teams, but I first talked to them, and they really talked to me about how they saw the jump from me in college to where I was at now. Because I actually, sort of a funny story. Um, they, I believe, ended up seeing me first when I faced off against Matt Duffy, who was also.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw that you two kind of had a pitcher's duel against each other.
Yeah, we had a little pitcher's duel until I ended up coming out, I believe, in the after the sixth, and then the seventh, the Canisius just poured it on. But he did. I mean, I think he was the pitcher of the year, I believe, for the MAC.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. We talked about it with my hitters that day. He was just like, dude, we're trying to get hits and trying to figure things out. We can't do anything against them. So it was actually pretty interesting to have that sort of conversation where, like, we saw you face off against these guys, and you were a good pitcher, but you didn't have some of the stuff that you had now. And I sort of had the same conversation I had with you. Was like, how did you do that? How did you reinvent yourself? How did you do all these different things? And it just ended up being a really good conversation. And I ended up actually getting a call from them, that Monday, and they were like, "Hey, we want to get you a part of this organization." And I was like, I mean, you can't say it's hard to say no to the Boston Red Sox. So
So you're heading into your first ever spring training as a professional baseball player, coming up on next Monday. You said
yes.
you're heading down there. So what kind of things are you like? Are you most excited about just being around? Whether it's some of the guys that are on the minor league side that have been in the system for a while, or even a guy that you faced like Matt Duffy, and then even the big leaguers.
It's I actually had a conversation about this with a couple of my friends at school. I was like, I don't think it's fully hit me yet. I actually ended up seeing, I think I saw a video on Instagram of Blaze Jordan just hitting at the facility. And I was sort of laughing because my friends were like, "Hey, Coop, you're going to be there in a week." And I was just like, "Nah, no, I'm not." And I was like, "Oh, wait, never mind. I am." I am. That's sort of strange. So yeah, I think for me, one of the things that I'm actually, besides all being in the Red Sox and all that, I'm actually most excited to just be in the warm weather.
I
We
relate to
can
that on
relate.
so many levels.
Yeah, because it's, my college baseball is obviously starting this weekend, and Mount's they're playing Norfolk State. And even though it's in Virginia, they're like, "Oh, dude, it's going to be like 40 or 50, and we're going to be all bundled up and everything." I'm be like, "Oh, I'm going to be in, 70 or 80s down in Florida." So I think that's, definitely one of the things I'm really, really psyched for. But just, I'm really psyched to get in there and just meet everyone from people I've seen on TV to even just, friends like Justin Reamer and guys that I've faced before like Matt Duffy, and just sort of get the lay of the land, and excited just to really get going.
Yeah, you went to high school with Justin Reamer.
I did. St. John's. It was a really cool experience. Me and Justin. Justin was, I believe, a sophomore when I was a senior, and I mean, number one, just absolutely great guy. We were talking about this off air. Like, he's just a guy that you wouldn't think is a professional baseball player or anything. Like, he's just one of the most humble, down to earth guys you'll ever meet. Uh, when I was there, I believe he got called up for our playoff run in varsity. Sorry about that. My dogs are barking.
Oh, that happens. I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
I thought that was Ed, to be honest.
No, it wasn't Penny this time.
Yeah. You got the mailman comes and they go insane.
Oh, yeah. No, that sounds familiar. This is a dog-friendly podcast.
Yes.
Exactly. So, no, ended up just sort of. Actually, hold on. Let me pause this real quick.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I thought that was you, Ed, 100%.
No, it wasn't me this time. It wasn't
I always
me
see
this
your
time.
face, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, he'll see me. He'll see me just kind of like you can see me going through like 6 different emotions at once,
like,
because like I have a little. I don't know what kind you have, but mine sounds very loud because she's part Corky, but she's also part Chihuahua, so she's just loud, but also like angry, and it's a little bit of a nuisance if we're recording when it happens.
It gets a little hectic. Yeah, I have 2 labs and an Irish Water Spaniel. They are
wow,
big dogs, but whenever something comes, like, they're the sweetest dogs in the world. But whenever there's like a mailman or someone knocking at the door, you think they're out for blood completely.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, I mean, we were supposed to get like a nor'easter here today, and we didn't. But I was all ready because when the snowplows come by, she just loses her mind. It's certainly something.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
So back to what we were talking about, though. And this seems like it's a simple question, but I really am curious as to your answer. What does it mean to you to be a professional baseball player? That you're not a college player anymore. You're not an amateur. You're a professional baseball player.
Yeah, it's I was thinking about it the other day because obviously it's been such a process for me because I think everybody, they have their own viewpoint of how everything's going to go. Like, I remember thinking that I'm going to spend 3 years in college and I'm going to get drafted in the first, top 5 rounds, and I'm going to be this big guy, whatever it is, and end up not going that way. But to be able to have it where I was a kid looking at big league guys and just pro guys in general, and just sort of having that like starstruck moment of like, that's what I want to be. Like, I want to be a professional baseball player when I grow up. Like, that's going to be so cool. Like, I know I'm going to do it. To then obviously having a lot of the ups and downs and whatever it was to now making it happen. There's not a lot of words I have to sort of describe the feeling, but it's probably one of the best. When I first got that call and got the offer and made it official and everything like that, it was probably one of the best feelings of my life to just go, wow, like, no matter what happens, I can always say I'm a professional baseball player and I got to play for the Boston Red Sox. Like, in their organization, like, that is just so cool. And I know, not a lot of people get to say that. And it really hit me in a sense where I was very, very grateful for everything that I had. And, I'm grateful for my parents, because without them, it was just like, I wouldn't have been able to do this. They've been very supportive since day one of just going like, you're good at this. You are very serious about this. So go after it and see what happens. And just to be able to make it happen and to be able to say, oh, I'm going to go to spring training with the Boston Red Sox, it was just like a pretty surreal moment for me.
Yeah. What did your parents do when you told them?
It was actually pretty funny because my mom was jumping up and down, and I gave her a big hug and all that type of stuff. But my dad had COVID.
Oh no!
So he's like, I want to hug you. I want to jump up and down and do all this, but I feel terrible. And You could see the smile on his face. He was so happy, but he was like, I can't do anything. And actually, just I think it was last week or the week before that, he was all good and he was negative. And I was like, "Can I hug you now?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I gave him the biggest hug ever, and he was like, "I'm so proud of you. This is so great." It was just sort of a funny twist on everything, especially with my dad being the person who um, he started everything with baseball for me. He was a coach for a really long time, and he's the person that when things are going awry with baseball or things are going good with baseball, like I go and talk to him, and we have a ton of different baseball conversations. We actually had one this morning about a free agency. We were like, I wonder what this person's going to do or this person's going to do. So just being able to, not immediately getting to share that moment with him, but then, sort of having that delayed effect where I got to hug him and do everything. It was just a really cool moment.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
I have a Red Sox related question for you.
of course.
I'm not sure how much you've gotten a chance to, kind of dive into a little bit, just kind of catch up with a lot of the things that happened with them this offseason, since you obviously just signed with them a week ago.
Yeah.
But this offseason, they've gone through quite a lot of change, obviously, like from the top. A lot of, I think they've overhauled, Ed, I think this is the right word. They've completely overhauled the pitching development
Yeah.
aspect of the organization.
Yeah, the
Uh,
pitching apparatus, pipeline, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's all the influx of minds from Driveline, from like Kyle Body to then adding Justin Willard, then obviously Craig Breslow taking over, former pitcher himself,
Andrew
Andrew
Bailey.
Bailey coming in. I mean, there's a ton of new faces that have such extensive pitching backgrounds. It's not even funny. So I wanted to get your thoughts on what you think of an organization that is putting that foot forward now and being very pitching focused now. Like, as a pitcher yourself, like, what are your thoughts around that?
It's something that obviously excites me, being a pitcher and going, being able to go into an organization that really cares about obviously developing their pitchers and trying to make them the best that they possibly can be. It's something that obviously I love. And I'm in the mindset of obviously I think offense is extremely important. You need offense to win. But I actually always stick back to the Nats, how they won their 2019 championship, where they had all those arms, and I was like, the people underestimate how important pitching is. And I just think having an organization where they are really diving in on the pitching end and trying to make that as good as they possibly can. As a pitcher, it just makes me unbelievably excited. And then even just to have, I know, a lot of the coaches at Tread, they know some of the guys that have moved into different positions and stuff like that, and just to be having guys that I know really know their stuff, leading everything is very comforting.
I wanted to get your thoughts. You're about to enter spring training. Obviously, the announcement was made in the past week about the Netflix cameras following around the Red Sox this year. I'm assuming it's going to be starting down when they're at the complex. So you might get your 5 seconds walking by or whatever you're doing in the background. But what do you think about the Netflix cameras with the Red Sox this year?
I think it's so cool. It was actually sort of funny because the day I made everything official, I had like probably 5 of my friends send me this thing like, dude, they're doing a Netflix thing. Like, you're gonna be on Netflix. I was like, well, it's not gonna be me, right then and there. But like, hey, you're right. I might get my 5 seconds of fame walking in the background. Or like, I'll maybe be in the way background, just sort of waving like this, trying to get something. So no, I think it's really cool. I think just being able to bring just more awareness to the game, and just obviously the organization in general. A lot of people know the Red Sox, and just I think that's the cool part about a lot of this, especially with Netflix and social media and all that, is just continuing to bring awareness to baseball and getting more eyes on it. I think is just extremely cool. I actually end up watching. I know everyone doesn't like him in Boston, but the Derek Jeter, his like captain thing, but it's a cool thing to sort of get the insight on the inner workings of everything, because people don't get to see that a lot. And having that where people can get an insight on what these players do and what we do to sort of get ourselves prepared to go play games and play at the highest level, and see some of guys like Devers and Story, some of the guys you see on TV, and sort of see their inner workings and what they do. As a fan myself, it's like, that's so cool. It's just so cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you seem like you're really you're a student of the game. You're not just like a guy who's good at playing it. You're really into this.
No, for sure. I've definitely, baseball has been a big part of my life, and me and my buddy always talk about it. It's just like, try not to get in a baseball conversation right now because we'll be here for like 4 hours. Like, just let's keep it minimal right here, then see what happens. But yeah, I just love learning about different things and just love the game in general. I think it's so much fun, and just there's so many things that I know I have no clue on, and I need to get a lot smarter with. But that also excites me because I'm like, oh wow, like there's things I don't know about, and if I can start to gain knowledge on a lot of these things, like look what it can do for my career going forward, whether it be as a player or a coach someday, or whatever it is. It's definitely very exciting.
Yeah, if you hadn't ended up with the Red Sox as coaching what you were looking at doing.
It's I actually one of my things was, I definitely love coaching. It was definitely something that I wasn't sure if I was going to do right now. I think I would help out with coaching and do stuff like that. I think there'd be um, other stuff that I'd probably do on as a main job. I think for me, I've been really into real estate. I'm sort of just one of those guys.
Right.
Um, but coaching has always been, one of those things that I've always wanted to do, and just sort of help kids get better. And just for me, being someone that didn't know what was going on in a lot of different situations growing up with baseball and pitching, and just how even to work, like getting into colleges and trying to get college exposure or anything like that, you know passing on some of the knowledge I have onto some of the younger generation, I think is just, it's really cool, and something that obviously, like, someone in my position has a great, the ability to do. So I was like, I definitely want to try that at some point and do it. So
All right, Cooper. I have a speed run of questions for you. I have 8 questions, and I think we can get through them in 2 minutes or less.
perfect.
Have you named them
You're up
yet?
for
This
it.
segment? Have you
I
come up with
I
one?
haven't, man. I reached out to Christopher Troy and Blaze Jordan to actually try to see if I get some ideas. And we'll see what it is. Christopher Troy gave me some bad ones, but we'll keep trucking. Um, that's a guy, by the way. You get down to the complex, he is probably the most into real estate and just all of that. Him and Blaze, I think, that's what they do in their free
All
time in
the
the
time.
off season. So
I have to talk to him for sure.
yeah. Oh, CT, man, he's a good one to talk to. All right, I got the speed run. I got about 8 questions. I think we can chuck through it in like 2 minutes. If you're ready for it.
I'm prepared.
All right. I need to know: are you a movies, shows, or live TV guy?
I'm a show guy.
Okay. If you had a walkout song in 2024, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably "Fine China" by Chris Brown.
Oh, good
Wow.
pick. Good choice.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
just got married and they made us learn the slide dance for that, so I've been listening to that a lot recently.
It's a great song. That was my walk up song last year, and it was gets everybody going.
Hits home for Ed right there. I like it. By the age of 30, you want to have accomplished what?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Obviously, my goal is to make it to the show. That's definitely one, and one of the major goals by 30 is to retire my dad fully. That's probably, if I had to name 2 major goals, those are the top 2.
Favorite athlete outside of baseball?
Ooh, this is one, Dwayne Wade.
Ooh, okay.
That's an interesting one.
I like
Really
that.
Dwayne Wade fake growing
Weirdest baseball superstition that you've had?
up. Ooh, I had one where I remember I had two or three really good starts. And actually, no, this is actually an interesting one. Whenever things are going really well, I can't move. I don't move. I stay in the exact same position that when something good happened, a home run or a base hit or whatever it is, I stay in the exact same position. I can't move. I can't even go say like hi to my teammates, congrats them, anything. I just stay right there.
Okay.
Don't want to mess up the vibes. I get it.
Exactly.
I like it. What is a guilty pleasure of Cooper Adams?
Ooh, guilty pleasure. I will say Sour Patch Kids. I could eat an entire bag of Sour Patch Kids like this. Like it's pretty crazy actually. I gotta stay away from them when I go to the grocery store.
All right, we're gonna stay on the food kick here. I need the worst topping to put on a pizza.
Worst topping pizza. Mushrooms.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
We've gotten anchovies a lot, but
yeah, anchovies too. I can't get behind it. Just
yeah,
can never get behind it.
What's a go-to pregame snack?
Pregame snack. I'm actually a big, the Mott's apple sauces.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. I'll
Is it
drink
the squeeze
that.
ones?
Like the straight up no spoon.
Yeah, the squeeze ones and also just the regular applesauce ones. I'm notorious for not eating those with spoons. I just sort of put it in my mouth.
You and me both.
Exactly. It works. It gets the job done.
Yeah,
That's what matters.
All right, final question here. Save the best for last. I need your favorite fast food fried chicken chain.
Fried chicken chain. Ooh. Popeyes. The Popeyes is it's top tier for me. I think it edges KFC by a little bit.
Okay. Could I interest you?
My sister would agree with you.
Could I not interest you in a nice chain that you have around your neck of the woods called Zaxby's?
I see. I haven't been a big Zaxby's guy. I just
Fair.
I tried. There actually isn't a lot right near me. When I've been out and about traveling, there's been some. I like it. I just think Popeyes it always hits for me. For some reason, it's just always.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
The other one that gets me is if you I saw a thing about I think it was Mikal Bridges talked about Chipotle and how he gets a bowl every day. I'm like him. I get a bowl every single day. I could eat Chipotle if you gave me one meal to eat for the rest of my life. I could just eat Chipotle and be perfectly fine.
That's a good question. I need to incorporate that one.
Meal that you would eat for the rest of
what is the one meal you would eat every day for the rest of your life if you had the opportunity to?
That's mine. Chipotle, I will eat it all the time.
Don't let the nutritionists hear this, but they got some serious nutritionists in the Red Sox org, man. They get on to some of those guys. So we'll cut this part out, so you're good. All right, Ed.
Stay there. They're gonna be like, you got to cut the Chipotle out, cut the Popeyes, all that stuff out right now. Like, oh, okay, I'll try.
There has been there's I'm not gonna name his name because I've already thrown him under the bus too many times, but there is a pitcher in AA right now. He's a pretty good friend of ours, but he had a really bad pregame routine on just food intake, and it involved a lot of Dr. Pepper and a lot of just chicken, everything, and it's like he went out and nutritionists. Oh yeah, so we're not gonna
alive with that one. They're like,
we won't get him in trouble anymore.
That's funny.
So aside from baseball and dogs, what do you like to get into in your free time?
I'm actually I really like to put myself out there. Like I'm a nerd, a really big nerd. On the side of I play baseball. I love sports, like all that type of stuff. But I'm a really big nerd. I'm a guy that obviously I love video games. I love playing video games and doing stuff like that. TV show wise, I go all over the place. I mean, my favorite show at one point was Hawaii Five-0. So you get the crime series, and then one of them right now, it's actually an anime. It's
Which
called
one?
One Piece.
Oh, I know. I'm familiar with One Piece.
Yes.
I'm one of my co-hosts on a different show is obsessed with it.
Oh, it's I will tell people yeah, it's 1,000 episodes, and people be like, "Are you crazy? Like you watched 1,000 episodes?" And I'm like, "It didn't feel like 1,000 episodes to me." So, yeah,
I
no,
actually had a conversation with someone at my job earlier about this because he was wearing a Straw Hat shirt, and I was like, "Oh yeah, how?" Because I've had that exact same thing where it's like it's over 1,000 episodes. That's really intimidating to try to get into that. And he was like, "Yeah, but you could pick it up pretty much anywhere and enjoy it. It's just a good show."
it is a show that, like, for me, my mom's an author actually, so I just get really into the storytelling and all that type of stuff. And it's one of those shows where you'll get shows that are just like it's all about the action, and that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you do. Like this show has a ton of great action, but the big moments in the show are most of the time not action moments. They're like actual storytelling moments, and it I eat it alive. It's amazing. So yeah, there's I definitely love watching those type of shows, playing video games, reading either fiction or comic books or any of that. Like I'm a big proponent of that, and I'll play some. I used to play this game called Injustice on my iPhone all the time, and it was the DC and Marvel, I think it was the DC characters. They play them all the time, so definitely really into the comic books. Really,
What
sort of.
kind of are they like the superhero stuff or like the like Invincible? Like what kind of comic books?
I think, well, for me, I watch Invincible. Invincible is a great show. I'm a big. I used to be a really big. I still am a big Batman fan. Huge Batman fan. I don't think you know. Everybody says you can never go wrong with Batman. They're 100% right. Like Batman is one of the best superheroes out there. So yeah, I'm big into reading a lot of DC and Marvel comics. I'm big into the movies, the Marvel movies. They're not as great now, but in the prime time Marvel era, it was
Yeah, pre Infinity War.
exactly pre Infinity War. It was I ate that stuff up too. So definitely a big nerd. Sort of just definitely have an eclectic taste on a lot of different things, and just try and
Just
enjoy
ha-
life as much as I can.
and you just happen to have a really good arm.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm just sort of one of those. It's like a Hollywood movie where it's just like I'm just a random nerd that was there, but just was blessed with some God-given arm, I guess, and can throw the ball pretty hard. So it's sort of crazy.
Well, the thing that I've been the most impressed with in all of this has just been that you knew that you weren't there yet and you were able to make the jump. I feel like people struggle so much with like knowing their limitations and how much they can actually surpass it. Like this is all I can do. So I'm not going to try to push further than that. That's what's really impressed me. Like how is that something that you've always had, or did you know that this was okay? This is my dream. This is my last shot. I've got to do this.
I think it's a mix of both. I knew I had the ability. I think my dad will tell me all the time, um, you still have so much potential. And for me, for the longest, it was like I knew I had the potential. I knew I had the potential to do good, great things within baseball and like hit this level at some point, but I just didn't know how to do it. And I was, grateful to have people like bullpen pitching in Virginia, headed by Zach Dials, and then Tread Athletics, who, I mean, Tread just, thing about Tread was like, I was in the end of college. I ended up starting them before my senior year of college. And they just gave me sort of a plan. And I think for me, that's what I needed was like I was sort of going all over the place. Like I knew I had the arm, I knew I had the talent. I could get back to a good range of velo, but I would fluctuate a lot. Like I just knew I had it, and I knew I wanted to do it. But it was just sort of getting that plan and figuring out what I needed to do to maximize my potential. And I think ended up having a good little plan set forward by Tread and got it done. So I'm pretty exciting stuff when I look back on it.
Well, Cooper, you've given us 45 minutes of your time. We appreciate that. Before we let you go, I do see that you growing in a mustache.
A little bit. I got a little mustache going right now.
Okay. Is that just for like because I was just looking through like some of the pictures like from you at Mount St. Mary's and I don't think I saw one. So is that like something new that you're gonna test out?
I actually I've been Mr. Beard. I was a goatee guy at UMBC. I had a beard at Mount, and actually when I got down to tread the first time, I had a mustache. It was a little bit more grown out than it is now, and I had it the entire way through Christmas, and I ended up shaving it at Christmas. I went back and they were like, "Dude, what did you do to the mustache?" Like that was like your thing right there. Like that was amazing. Like you got to keep it. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to grow it back, and it took a little bit, but now it's somewhat back. So I'm just like, I'm gonna keep it, see how it goes, especially going in first spring training. Gotta keep a good look, you know.
I will I'll make sure I hit up our good friend Taylor Broadway, who's one of the good stashes in the minor leagues for the Red Sox. So I'll let him know that he's got a brother coming. So
Well, perfect.
uh,
Perfect.
but Cooper, we appreciate all the time you've given us. It's been good getting to know like a new guy to the system that it's brand new for both sides, for the Red Sox and for you. So we appreciate all the time and thank you for hopping on with us.
No, and I appreciate you guys having me on. It was really, I'm really grateful for it. Thank you.